Zach, over the course of the last decade, 44% of the world's EV battery supplies came from none other than China. But now the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022 is out to change that with a new EV tax credit that incentivizes building here in North America. Have you heard the news?
Some might say it's a discriminatory bill that was passed in the sense that it is essentially a domestic production bill. Seems like that country, China, is not too pleased with the rules that we've passed because they incentivize, and we've already seen it, Chinese companies actually having to build out operations here in the United States.
Yeah, discrimination is a strong word, but China's officials are actually using that word to characterize the new Inflation Reduction Act's EV tax breaks, saying, quote, "It discriminates against similar imported goods and is a suspected breach of the World Trade Organization's principles." So that is some very harsh words coming out of China. Just last week, the China ambassador to the U.S. Visited the Detroit Auto Show. And he was not too happy about this either. He said that the electric vehicle supply chain, or specifically the globalized supply chains, are going to need to be working in accordance with economic laws. So that's what he said. Not really beating around the bush there, that they think that global economic laws are being tampered with. But I don't know. I don't know if there's really anything that they can do about the fact that the U.S. is just trying to strengthen domestic EV supply chains. So maybe they can avoid some of the EV-related supply chains that could happen later in this decade.
Well, we've seen, obviously, with the semiconductor shortage and then other supply chain issues, what impact that can have here domestically, i.e. the car shortage now, and other shortages as well. That being said, do you think, because these, if you got to keep me honest here, the new EV tax credits last for 10 years, right?
Yes.
Is $7,500 going to matter that much? And I'm not trying to trivialize $7,500. Like, please, if there was $7,500 right there, I would grab it, right? Like, I need $7,500 as much as the next person. But is it actually going to matter that much to most consumers 6-7 years from now? Like, I'm kind of wondering how much people are being, and countries are being reactionary right now, when in reality it might not even be that big of a deal.
Well, we've got an EV affordability crisis. I mean, right now, the average electric vehicle sells for 37% more than the overall market average. I think $7,500 can make a big difference for the consumer. But to your point, Zach, moving forward 10 years into the future, where will we be at that point in time? Nobody knows, because right now, the world is scrambling to mine more lithium. A lot of that is in China, although there's plenty in Chile, Australia, even here in the United States, Canada. But still, China is a big part of the scene right now. But where will we be a decade from now, and how much will those incentives matter? Yeah, there's a little bit of crystal ball going on, but I still think it's a lot of money that is up to play right now.
Do you see a world, Justin, where we actually end up with mass EV production and adoption that doesn't involve reliance on China? Like, it kind of feels impossible, but you're the expert here. You tell me.
Yeah, I'll tell you why I think that is the future we're headed towards, although it's going to take more than 5 years to get there. China, they need all the lithium they can mine for their own EV production for the domestic market. Right now, China's EV market share for new car sales is 19% for fully electric, add on another 5% for plug-in hybrids. They don't have enough lithium for their own EV production. So I'm pretty sure if it comes down to it, China would be understanding that globally we need more lithium production, and globally China is going to have to focus more domestically if it's going to reach its own goals for electrifying. We've got numerous lithium mines coming online in America, Canada, South America, Australia. Why am I talking all about mines? Because this is the main factor of the Inflation Reduction Act's new vehicle credit that is really concerning China. It says beyond January 1st, 2024, the raw materials in these EV batteries cannot come from foreign entities of concern, and that is strongly expected to include China. So that's why they're freaking out. I do think there's a future ahead where in the U.S., we're making EVs without a reliance on China, but it's going to take at least 5 years to get there. In order to bring a new lithium mine online, it takes 5 to 10 years anyways.
Wondering what your car's worth? Get a free valuation at YAA. It's just a click away.
Remind us, Justin, the vehicle has to be produced here in the United States, final manufacturing. The battery has to be produced here in the United States. And the materials, the raw materials that go into it, a certain percentage of those, which increases over time, has to be procured from a free trade agreement country that we have a relationship with, or obviously here in the United States, correct?
Yeah, let me go over it real quick. So the maximum credit that is possible is $7,500, but it really is split into two halves. $3,750 is based on where the battery components are assembled, so making batteries in America or free trade agreement countries. The other half, the other $3,750, is dependent on where the minerals in the battery are sourced from. And then on top of that, starting January 1st, 2024, if you source any of the battery's minerals from entities of foreign concern, as they call it, which is likely to include China, Russia, etc., then you get no credit. You're disqualified. So that's on top of the vehicle having to be assembled in the United States or Canada or Mexico. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the quickest summary I've ever done of the Inflation Reduction Act's new revision, so I'm kind of proud of ourselves.
Kudos to you, Justin. So is it discriminatory? I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say yeah. It's intentionally discriminatory, but the purpose being to have more self-reliance rather than being reliant on these other countries. Again, look at what's going on currently with semiconductors, and you can kind of see why maybe a senator from West Virginia pushed for certain language in that bill.
Yeah, but we can't forget that it's not just China who's upset. South Korea is lobbying the U.S. legislature right now to try to get this language changed, obviously, for Hyundai and Kia. The European Union's pretty upset, too. So it's not just China. A lot of different, I would say, friendly and not so friendly nations are kind of upset about where this might lead as far as economics.
I mean, it is interesting, Justin, right? Like, globalization is kind of what's dominated for the past few decades, and now it feels like EVs are in battery production, and I think semiconductors will follow follow this swiftly. It feels like now we're moving to like a retreat from globalization. Like, we want to have this all be able to be procured domestically, and that's a very big difference. And it feels like EVs and chips and batteries are kind of at the forefront of this.
Yeah, we didn't even get into the several semiconductor chip plants that have been announced domestically here in the United States over the past several months. Yeah, things are changing quickly. Who knows where we'll be when the new EV tax credit expires in 10 years' time.
Something tells me EVs will be more expensive, but that's just my guess.
Yeah, I hope not.
Thanks, Justin.